On April 8th, North America experienced a total solar eclipse. Hundreds of thousands traveled through Mexico, Canada, and the United States in order to see the eclipse in its totality.
Oh, I traveled to come see this. Like 4 hours out, came from a small town over in Illinois. Definitely recommend doing this for anyone, dude. Good stuff.
The path of totality fell along Austin, Texas, Indianapolis, Indiana, Rochester, New York, and everywhere in between. As people took to the roads, traffic began to swell around many popular eclipse destinations, with Arkansas temporarily declaring a state of emergency due to the influx of people traveling.
I traveled with a group of friends, drove like 5 or 6 hours, which is definitely worth it.
The eclipse began in the Midwest around 12:45 p.m. Central Time, though the exact times depended on specific location. As totality approached, everything started getting darker, wildlife became restless, and the temperature started to drop.
It's almost magical in a way. It definitely makes you think about things in a way you wouldn't have before. It just really makes you realize just how big of a scope the galaxy is and just how small we are in comparison.
At around 2:05 p.m., the moon had completely blocked the sun, plunging those lucky enough to be in the eclipse's path in total darkness.
It's mesmerizing. I mean, it's hard to look away. You're just so focused on the event. It's something you don't get to see normally, so it's just breathtaking.
For about 4 minutes, nighttime fell across dozens of cities in North America in the middle of the day. The next total solar eclipse that will be visible from North America won't happen until 2044, but those itching to get another glimpse at this cosmic event can catch the next total solar eclipse in 2026 as it occurs over Northern Europe. For GSUTV, this is Graham Taylor. Governor State University's Theater and Performance Studies Department debuted their spring show, The Exonerated, on April 4th. The performance was held at Sherman Hall, and the show opened to a full house. A reception in the E-Lounge of Governor State's campus preceded the premiere, where students, audience members, and the crew could grab a refreshment and mingle before the big event. At 7:30, the theater was full, and the performance began. The Exonerated follows the real-life stories of 6 individuals from across America who were wrongfully imprisoned for crimes they did not commit. As the title suggests, they are eventually exonerated, but the play shows from their point of view their journey from arrest to eventual imprisonment and then release. The script is entirely adapted from actual court documents and interviews with the exonerated individuals. The cast and crew put on a stunning, tense performance. As the show progressed, more and more mugshots of the wrongfully accused were hung on the background of the set, driving home the themes of the show and further highlighting the issues with the American criminal justice system. After the show, the cast and crew collected donations to help more real-life exonerees as they continued to readjust to life outside of prison. The Theater and Performance Studies Department continued to perform the show through the end of the weekend. For GSU-TV, this is Graham Taylor.
Good afternoon. My name is Jaida Thompson, and I'm in E-Lounge at Governor State University, where they just concluded their final round of their 4th annual First Voice Grand Slam event.
GSU hosted their First Voice Grand Slam in E-Lounge, which encouraged students to tell stories in a captivating way to their peers. This event had 4 finalists, Brittany White, Che Vepergarty, Jamia Brooks, and Sean Townsend, who battled against one another to see who told the best story within certain guidelines in comparison to their classmates.
I could have did better. I always could do better. Like it might be a couple of little things that I thought about, like that I said to myself when I was at home, and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna say that, and I left it out, or I forgot. On my way here in my car, like, yeah, I'm gonna say that, I'm gonna get them with that. It seemed like it was a tough crowd. So it was like, you know how you would say something to see if they respond, like, oh, okay, I got them. But nah, that's it. I didn't really do too much. I could have did better.
The finalists all told very interesting stories over a wide range of topics. In the end, it was Brittany White who pulled out the win for her story, comedically recanting events from one of America's darkest times, the global pandemic of 2020.
They're rioting, they're stealing TVs, they're stealing shoes, they're stealing video games, everything, they're getting everything. So I hear the conversation and I look, and she looks, and judge me later, we got our clothes on as fast as we could and we ran outside to the car because we wanted TVs as well.
Jamia received 3rd overall, and the night ended with contestants and guests able to mingle amongst each other and get to know the guest star host of the event.
I host storytelling events pretty much on a monthly basis. Mostly, like I'll either tell stories at an event or I'll host different events. So I'll host storytelling open mics and then storytelling curated shows as well, where I work with the storytellers to help them tell their stories, and it'll be for a special event.
This is Jaida Thompson reporting live for GSUTV. Good evening. My name is Jaida Thompson, and I'm here in Sherman Hall at Governor State University, where the Black Student Union has just hosted their comedy show fundraiser.
On Friday, the Black Student Union organization held a comedy show fundraiser for students in Sherman Hall. This event was intended to lighten the spirits of students for finals, which is quickly approaching. BSU President Jalen Woodard organized for 5 young Black comedians to come out and provide stand-up comedy. Comedian and co-host Joy Gamby started off with an hilarious set to warm the crowd up for the night.
I do comedy clubs, I do other colleges around the country, I also do theaters, I also do arena shows. So I host, I feature, and I headline all across the country. God is very good to me.
Comedians came down one by one to deliver their skits in hopes to draw a good reaction from the crowd. Some were more animated than others, but overall the group came out with a good performance, with some receiving a shout out from audience members.
It was good. I think that the comedians were very funny. Some of the jokes didn't land, but it was okay. We still laughed, just so to support. I would have to say the shorter guy with the glasses on and the hat with the jacket and like the matching set. His style was kind of fresh, and then he did like the Kevin Hart impression, the Bill Cosby, so yeah, that was kind of funny. Mm-hmm.
This is Jaida Thompson reporting live for GSUTV. Good afternoon. My name is Jaida Thompson, and I'm outside of Emberton Hall, where the Black Student Union is hosting their Black Women History and March Madness Kahoot Tournament event.
On Tuesday, the Black Student Union organization held a Kahoot tournament for students covering multiple topics. The first game was all about facts on Black women in history in celebration of Women's Month.
I bombed that first Kahoot. The first one was for Women's History, and the second one's for March Madness. So again, I got a couple of insights about Women's History, learned a little things, and had fun while doing it.
Following this game was the March Madness tournament that many male students were ecstatic to begin. Since March Madness was already underway, many questions catered towards last year's standings and overall knowledge on the tournament. The winners of the Kahoot Games had their names entered in a draw for a ticket to an upcoming event in April for the Black Student Union organization.
April 12th, we are hosting a comedy show right here in Sherman Hall at 7 o'clock. And then we're having an all-Black affair April 19th at 7 o'clock also, and that will be in E-Lounge.
Participants were able to enjoy small refreshments provided by the organization and brush up on some knowledge on topics they may or may not know.
This is Jaida Thompson reporting live for GSUTV.
Students at Columbia University in New York took to the campus common on Tuesday, April 16th to protest the school's financial ties to Israel. The protesters were given until that evening to disperse after a deadline was set by the university, but the students held strong to their position, and the university extended the deadline multiple times afterwards while meeting with student representatives. Early Wednesday morning, the president of the university called for the NYPD, who made over 100 arrests by Thursday, temporarily bringing an end to the encampment. The university also suspended many of the student protesters, limiting their access to the campus and their dorms. Instead of succumbing to the state-sponsored violence, students redoubled their efforts, rebuilding the encampment even larger than it had been previously, and have maintained a presence there ever since. The following week, over 100 faculty members from Columbia University and its sister school, Barnard College, formed a rally of their own in support of the student protesters who had been arrested or suspended. Department leaders and professors pleaded with the university to reinstate those who had been suspended and expunge the suspension from their records. The movement on Columbia's campus has sparked similar protests at universities all across America. As the spring semester comes to an end, students across the nation are risking their academic careers, their diplomas, and even more to stand up for what they believe in. For GSU TV, this is Graham Taylor. On April 18th, the United States vetoed a United Nations resolution that would have begun the process of making Palestine a full member of the UN. This comes after a series of other resolution vetoes from the US that would have resulted in a ceasefire between Israel and Palestine. The initial vote on the resolution was 12 in favor, 2 abstentions, and the only vote against being from the US. Following the vote, the United States vetoed the resolution altogether. Had the resolution passed, Palestine's membership would have been decided by a vote of the UN General Assembly, where no one has the power to veto. More than 140 countries of the UN already recognize Palestine, so the resolution would have likely passed the General Assembly, making Palestine the 194th member of the United Nations. The results of this vote mirrors the prior resolutions that would have called for a ceasefire, with the most recent ceasefire vote also coming out to a 2-to-1 count, with the US being the only against vote again. Despite US officials' calls for a non-violent solution to the crisis in Gaza, the nation's actions in the UN says otherwise. As support for Palestine mounts worldwide, the United States continues to be an obstacle to peace, adamantly standing in the way of resolutions that are popular internationally. For GSUTV, this is Graham Taylor.
In 2018, Chastity Harney was at school when this teacher says she felt a sharp pain in her chest.
When I took a deep breath in, it was excruciating.
The next day, the pain was better, but Harney's doctor scheduled a CT scan, and she says the results were shocking.
When I walked in her office, there was a chair pulled out and a box of tissues, and so I'm thinking, okay. And she said, there's no easy way to tell you this, but you have 2 pretty good sized tumors, mass on your left lung.
Harney was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, but she says she's never smoked. Her doctor suspected it was caused by a radioactive gas called radon that can seep into homes and buildings through the soil.
I had no idea what radon was. I never heard radon before.
Researchers estimate that nearly 3,000 lung cancer cases in the U.S. are linked to radon.
If you have lungs, you can get lung cancer.
Harney's doctor, David Carbone, with the Ohio State University Comprehensive Cancer Center, says it's important to test for radon in your home. You can get a kit from a state radon office, hire a qualified radon tester, or buy a kit from a hardware store.
So the EPA recommends for sure mitigating to a level below 4 picocuries, but they suggest below 2.
If you have symptoms like chronic cough or shortness of breath, be aware and talk to a doctor. Harney says she was given 6 months to live, but with targeted therapy, she's beaten the odds, surviving this incurable disease for years.
My journey's not over yet, and God continues to use me.
Tyona Menzies, GSUTV. 2 bodies were found in Oklahoma after the suspicious disappearance of 2 women. Officials say the bodies were found in the rural area of Texas County, the same location where 27-year-old Veronica Butler and 39-year-old Jillian Kelly disappeared. Both bodies will be transferred to the medical examiner as part of the investigation. 4 people have been arrested and charged with murder in connection with the disappearance of the 2 women who went missing last month while traveling through rural Oklahoma to pick up children. With GSUTV, my name is Tyona Menzies.
Taiwan was struck by a magnitude 7.4 earthquake in the early hours of Wednesday, April 3rd. The quake was located off the coast of Wayland County, where most of the damage also occurred, though the initial quake and aftershocks could be felt all over the country. 14 people were killed in the aftermath of the earthquake, with over 1,000 additional individuals injured and even more otherwise stranded or impacted by the events of the quake. Buildings and roadways were destroyed, landslides were triggered, and other infrastructure was damaged. Following the destruction, rescue workers and civilians alike took to the streets to start searching for missing and trapped people as recovery efforts began around the country. This is the largest quake to hit the country in the past 25 years, and even now the island continues to be rocked by aftershocks. On April 23rd, a 6.1 magnitude earthquake once again hit Taiwan, with hundreds of smaller quakes preceding and following that one. While the aftershocks have been less destructive overall than the initial earthquake, they still present challenges to ongoing rescue and reconstruction efforts. For GSU-TV, this is Graham Taylor. On April 1st, 7 aid workers with the World Central Kitchen were killed after being targeted by an Israeli military strike. The WCK is a nonprofit founded in 2010, whose goal is to provide food for those in war zones and places recovering from other disasters, and has served millions of meals to millions of people in need around the globe in that time. The 7 members killed were made up of people with many backgrounds from all over, including Palestine, the United States, Australia, and the UK, and their deaths sparked another wave of criticism worldwide against Israel and its military. Despite notifying the Israeli Defense Force of their location, the convoy was still struck. Israeli officials were quick to offer condolences, with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stating that the attack was unintentional. However, little has been done in the wake of this tragedy to hold anyone accountable or stop further incidents like this from occurring. The group had been active since the conflict in Gaza escalated in October of last year and has been operating efficiently up until recently. Unfortunately, because of the airstrike, the WCK is halting their operations in Palestine. This comes at a time when famine and starvation are starting to heavily affect the population of Gaza due to Israel's unending campaign and other factors, such as the defunding of the UNRWA and other aid organizations. For GSUTV, this is Graham Taylor. On April 1st, Israel launched an airstrike on an Iranian consular building in Damascus, Syria, killing 7 members of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. In retaliation, Iran launched a strike against Israel on April 13th, targeting Jerusalem. Iran launched over 300 missiles and drones into Israel, but most of the hardware was shot down or intercepted, and no one was killed in the attack. Despite this, the attack is still unprecedented, and both of these strikes are some of the first open acts of hostility between the two states. The fact that the attack was launched from Iranian soil into Israeli airspace is significant. Launching the strike from there gave Israel and its allies time to respond and react to the attack. While these two incidents highlight the growing tensions in the Middle East as a result of Israel's genocidal actions towards Palestine, Iranian officials have stated that they are not planning any more military operations against Israel as long as Israel remains nonviolent towards them. For GSU-TV, this is Graham Taylor.
California Highway Patrol has now confirmed to CNN that it is definitely Al Cowling's vehicle, and they are almost certain that OJ is in the passenger seat.
On Wednesday, former American football player and actor O.J. Simpson passed away at the age of 76. Simpson was a highly decorated athlete winning the 1968 Heisman Trophy at the University of Southern California, and starring in the NFL. Shortly after, he became one of the most controversial figures of the late 20th century when he was charged with the murder of his former wife and her friend. Through a statement on Simpson's official Twitter account, his family wrote that he had succumbed to his battle with cancer, and in his final moments, he was surrounded by his loved ones. In May 2023, Simpson posted a video on Twitter revealing that he was diagnosed with cancer and that he had beaten the disease through chemotherapy. Early this year, a Las Vegas television station reported that Simpson was once again undergoing treatment, but days after, Simpson himself denied the rumors. At this time, it is unclear the nature of the cancer as the Simpson family looks to keep the transition and details private. This is Jason Gonzalez reporting for GSU-TV. On Monday, federal agents with Homeland Security investigations seized a number of electronic devices as part of the court-authorized searches of 2 properties associated with Sean Diddy Combs. The raid of his Miami and Los Angeles home comes as part of a federal investigation along with the wave of lawsuits that has been filed against the rap mogul since November. Combs is allegedly accused of sex trafficking, sexual assault, and the solicitation and distribution of illegal narcotics and firearms. In his Los Angeles home, law enforcement authorities detained multiple individuals from inside the house, including Combs' 2 sons and employees. On the same day of the raid, former Syracuse player Brandon Paul was arrested on drug charges as he tried to board a plane in Miami. Paul is also now being accused of being a drug mule for Combs' operation. In a statement released Tuesday, a lawyer representing Combs called the raid a gross overuse of military-level force, adding that Combs was never detained but spoke to and cooperated with authorities. This is Jason Gonzalez reporting for GSU-TV. The rapper Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, was sued on Tuesday by a former employee who accused him of discrimination and creating a hostile environment by praising Adolf Hitler, disparaging Jews, and being homophobic. The lawsuit was filed in Los Angeles Superior Court by Trevor Phillips, who says he was hired in November 2022 around the time when a series of anti-Semitic remarks were publicly made by Ye. Phillips was initially hired to oversee self-sustainable resources for the fashion brand Yeezy, and then went on to work for Dante Academy, Ye's private school in Southern California. Phillips alleges that he was repeatedly abused and embarrassed in front of other employees and staff and was never paid termination or severance after Dante Academy was shut down in August 2023. This lawsuit joins several others that have been filed about Dante Academy. In a statement to Forbes, Carney Sherrigan, Phillips' attorney, said that this lawsuit was filed to show that there is no place in the world for discrimination, anti-Semitism, and Hitler love. Phillips is demanding an amount exceeding $35,000 for damages. This is Jason Gonzalez reporting for GSUTV.
We use music to make us whole, to balance the fractures within ourselves.
I'm nobody. I haven't done anything with my life like you have.
Welcome to Hollywood Buzz, your source for the latest in the entertainment industry. I'm your host, Jason Gonzalez, and today we have stories from iconic music artists all the way to new announcements of films. Let's get started. Our first story comes from the music industry, where country star Morgan Wallen was arrested after he allegedly threw a chair off a 6-story bar in Nashville, Tennessee. Wallen was charged with reckless endangerment and disorderly conduct. On Saturday, a new diss track from Toronto rapper Drake called Push-Ups appeared to be leaked online. Its lyrics spanning 4 minutes seem to take aim at a number of artists including Future, Kendrick Lamar, The Weeknd, Rick Ross, and Metro Boomin. Colombian singer Shakira has announced the first leg of her 2024 Live Nation promoted North American tour. Las Mujeres Ya No Lloran World Tour, named in honor of her new album, will play 14 arenas across North America, including the United Center on December 14th. Donald Glover has announced 2 new Childish Gambino albums, the second of which will be the final album released under the name. He stated that the first album will be the finished version of his surprise release 3/15/20, which quietly dropped in March 2020. Then he'll follow with the last installment of the Gambino project, which will serve as the soundtrack of his film Bando Storm and the New World. Now it's time to move on to the film industry, where Keanu Reeves is the latest star to join the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 cast. He will be voicing the popular character Shadow, who acts as the opposite of Sonic with an edgy and dark personality while sharing many of the hero's powers.
Let's get out of here.
The first trailer for The Joker Folie à Deux, featuring Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga, has been unveiled. In this musical sequel, failed comedian Arthur Fleck meets the love of his life, Harley Quinn, while incarcerated at Arkham State Hospital. This Warner Brothers film is set to release on October 4th, 2024. This is Jason Gonzalez reporting for GSUTV. Los Angeles Dodgers superstar Shohei Ohtani has allegedly been a victim of massive theft, accusing his now former interpreter Ipe Mizuhara of taking funds from his account to use for illegal gambling. ESPN reports that at least $4.5 million in wire transfers were sent from Ohtani's bank account to a California bookmaker who is under federal investigation. Mizuhara, Ohtani's longtime interpreter and friend, was fired by the Dodgers on Wednesday, and the MLB formally launched an investigation on Friday, a day after Shohei Ohtani spoke with members of the media for the first time since the investigation was opened.
So I never bet on baseball or any other sports, or never have asked somebody to do it on my behalf, and I have never went through a bookmaker to bet on sports. Just to kind of just go over the result, in conclusion, Ipe has been stealing money from my account and has told lies.
Mizuhara originally told ESPN in an interview last week that Ohtani had paid off the gambling debt, an amount that reached $4.5 million. However, his story changed a day later, and the now fired interpreter later said Ohtani was unaware of the payments. This is Jason Gonzalez reporting for GSU TV.
Good afternoon. My name is Jaida Thompson, and a very influential collegiate basketball player just announced that she will be joining the 2024 WNBA Draft. Angel Reese, the 6'4" powerhouse forward coming out of LSU, announced that she will join the 2024 WNBA Draft. She believes she has accomplished a lot with her time as a Tiger and wants to move on to the next stage in life and leave an impact for women's basketball.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be as positive as I can and just be a great impact for little girls. I mean, it could be a moment for somebody else when they're older. So I just want to make moments and make memories for little girls.
There was a gathering at Dick's Sporting Goods in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. People came in support of Reese and were able to speak with her and get custom autographs.
It's like a second home to me, and I haven't been back home because so many people here just want to see me and being able to celebrate with them first. So it's great being here. So I didn't know how many people were going to come out today, so just see all those people come out and just support me and see it's amazing to see people smile.
Reese was headlined on a list of 15 prospects who have been invited to Monday's 2024 WNBA Draft, the league announced Thursday. Reese led the LSU Tigers to the national championship for the 2022-2023 season. This is Jaida Thompson reporting live for GSUTV.
You can't be watching the game, and there are too many possessions where Philly's complimentary player, this Maxey.
He's starting to get hot now for the Sixers. He's looking for more.
And that's a deep shot.
Welcome to Sports Talk. I'm your host, Jason Gonzalez. Today we'll be covering the latest and the greatest stories from the world of sports. Let's get started.
This is out to left center field. And it gets down! Ronald's around third! He is safe at home and the fish fry is complete!
Our first story comes from Major League Baseball, where the Atlanta Braves continue to dominate the National League, with their latest victory coming in dramatic fashion against the Miami Marlins. The Braves currently stand 17-6, the best record in the league. In other news, Toronto Raptors player Dante Porter has been banned for life from the NBA after an investigation revealed that he had disclosed confidential information to bettors and had personally bet on NBA games.
Probing against Hart, Embiid, splash!
The NBA playoffs are in full effect. In the East, the New York Knicks battled against the Philadelphia 76ers in a very close game. Last year's MVP, Joel Embiid, dropped a playoff high 50 points to lead the Sixers to a 125-114 victory, and cutting the Knicks series lead 2-1.
5 to shoot. Newton trying to make it happen. Stop and go. Newton long strides, flips it in. He just challenged Edey for the bucket.
In a battle of number 1 seeds, the Purdue Boilermakers faced the Connecticut Huskies in the men's national championship game. Straight from tip-off, it would be all UConn with guard Tristan Newton scoring a team-high 20 points and leading the Huskies to a 75-60 victory over Purdue.
Riley dumps it in. Kicks, can't finish. Cardoso feels inevitable.
In the women's national championship game, the South Carolina Gamecocks in similar fashion dominated the Iowa Hawkeyes 87-75. 4 players scored double digits, led by freshman Tessa Johnson with 19 points and senior Camila Cardoso, who earned MVP honors.
With the 3rd pick in the 2024 WNBA Draft, the Chicago Sky select Camila Cardoso, University of South Carolina.
In the 2024 WNBA Draft, the Chicago Sky drafted national champion Camila Cardoso with the number 3 pick in the draft. With their 7th pick in the draft, the Sky continued to solidify their front court with LSU star Angel Reese, creating a tandem that will look to dominate the WNBA.
With the 1st pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Caleb Williams, quarterback, Southern California.
After months of speculation, Caleb Williams was drafted number 1 in the NFL Draft to the Chicago Bears, and will look to create magic this upcoming season alongside the Bears' number 9 pick wide receiver Roma Dunze. This is Jason Gonzalez reporting for GSU TV.